Hi, I'm Greg Fettig. I am a WA brother, giant slayer. I am running for Indiana House District 24 in the Indiana legislature down in Indianapolis. I'm running, a little bit about my background. The reason I'm running, I've been a political activist for going on 8 years. Really got involved because it's concerned, like many people, about the nature and the direction our country's going in. For the longest time, I fought on the national level and trying to get people elected to Congress with varying success. What I've found out and where I've changed in my tactics and turned direction is towards the state level. I don't think we can send enough people, good men and women, to Congress to do much good. They wind up voting for the same thing. I don't think we really have a choice whether you're Republican or Democrat. Frankly, on the national level, they're one and the same. They like to fool us into believing we have a choice, but you look, my own congresswoman just recently voted for the $1.1 trillion budget, claims she's pro-life, but that budget supports and funds Planned Parenthood, who are abortionists, abortion providers, says that she's against Obamacare, yet that budget funds Obamacare. So I just really believe in this upcoming presidential election, no matter who your candidate is, I don't see a lot of change on the federal level. But I do believe if we fight down on the local level, and in particular the state level, the states actually do have in the United States Constitution, they have their own rights. And over the decades, and frankly well over a century, we have our politicians either don't know that anymore, or they're not brave enough or want to change that and challenge the federal government on many fronts. I believe in the state house, if we have elect strong leaders, we can do just that. The person I'm challenging, the office holder right now that has that position, just 2 days ago, she voted for, they call it SOGI, sexual orientation, gender identification. She claims she's conservative. She voted for that. That would require employers to have set aside restrooms and open restrooms for either sex and so forth. And my belief on those issues is we already have equal protection under the law. All of us, these special rights that many of the legislatures want to carve out, it's a slippery slope to nowhere. It's going to not end well. It breaks us apart, puts us into subgroups where we're fighting one another, when really my belief the fight is against our elected officials and what they've done to this country. Currently, our national debt back to the federal level is pushing $19.5 trillion. When I became an activist several years ago, it was a little over $10 trillion, which is too high. So in one president's cycle, less than 8 years, it's nearly doubled. And it's projected to hit over $30 trillion in the next 10 years. Our state constitution in Article 11, Section 7 requires a reserve currency. It's been in our constitution since the inception of the state, over 200 years, nearly 200 years. And that's gold and silver, back it by that. If you look at what our currency's doing, it's just, I don't see it sustainable. And we have that in our state rights if we would honor our own constitution to protect our citizens in that regard in the event of an economic collapse or currency collapse. And we've seen that across the world. We've seen it in Greece, we've seen it in Cyprus and so forth. And when you talk to them, they'll say the country's going in the wrong direction. But many people have just quit the political process, thrown their hands up in frustration, and withdrawn from the process altogether. And that's understandable, but we can fight this, and we can fight it with the strong men and women that are really convicted. They have a strong faith that much like myself, I feel in many ways I've been called to do this. I've been going out about my business, trying to, like most people, raise a family and do the right thing. But we are, whether you want to be in the political process or not, you may not want to be involved with it, but it definitely is involved with your life and everything we do, our health care now, everything. The federal government just has completely usurped their power, and I frankly believe we need to fight back and resist it. We can do much just by telling them no. They're telling us how to educate our children, and they have no right. The federal government has no right to be in any of the states' educational system, although we allow them to do so. It can be as easy as telling them no. But again, it takes a strong constitution of that person, of their make. That they don't just go in there to get along, or just to be part of the club. And that's certainly not why I'm running. As I said, I could do other things with my time, but I feel this real strong sense to serve not only the people in my district, which is in central Indiana. We get a few people in the State House. There are other people there that will fight the fight, and they try, but they need more people in there with them. So in Indiana's small enough from a geographic size that we could actually break free of a lot of the federal government in overreach and intrusions in our life and show other states how to do that. So I'm not talking about breaking away. I'm talking about reeling in our rights and telling them no. And that will rein in the federal government, and over time I think we can save this country. But if we don't do anything and continue the path we are, elect a president, whether it's Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, or whoever, those guys aren't going to be able to do it. It's going to have to happen down on the local level. Our primary in Indiana is on May 3rd. Whether you can vote for me, if you're inclined to do so or not, there's lots of ways to help. We are actively campaigning, going door to door, winning this race the old-fashioned way, just campaigning, talking to people, explaining what's at risk, what's at stake, and that should I be elected, and I can go in there and just become another rubber stamp for the leadership, which frankly the leadership in the Indiana State House has all the necessary things lined up that they could do this right now, but most of them have been beholden. They've been in there 32 years. The Speaker of the House in the Indiana legislature, 32 years, which I contend at a certain point you cross the line between a public servant and being self-servant or serving other people that are not the people. 32 years is too long. I won't, certainly at my age, I won't be there in 32 years, and hopefully I'm around, but I may not even be around, but I won't be in the State House 32 years from now. And I pledged a term limit no more than 12 years if I'm elected. But I truly feel the sense to serve the public, do the job of the people. Door to door, as I said, we'll win this campaign. Obviously, it takes a little bit of money and donations, but even if you're not in the district, you can help by knocking on doors. We will do that every weekend and in the evenings. We have about 75 days left to win this. And my opponent is not very well known, but she will be backed by the establishment, by the party, by big business, big corporation that want to keep her in there because she's a guaranteed yes vote. I won't be a guaranteed yes vote. I'll vote the right way as far as what's under our Constitution in Indiana and the federal Constitution, and that'll be my filter. And if it doesn't wash through there, those two laws, then in my opinion it's not the law and we're not going to obey it. And I serve not only the people of Indiana, but I serve our Creator, God, and I will look at everything through that filter. And make no mistake, there'll be enemies. There's people right now that are trying to destroy the family unit, all our institutions and traditions that we've known them for 200 years, and Indiana's 200th birthday is this year. Country's obviously older than that, and these institutions and traditions are being under attack, and they're doing that because they want to break up our way of life. If you look at other countries around the world and through history, the first thing they do to gain control is to break the family unit, the traditional values, marriages, everything, and just break it down. And then the government, over time, they control your rights when they don't believe in a Creator, who the Creator gave us our rights. When the Creator gives us right, nobody can take those rights away. When the government gives you the right, they can take them away at will, and that's what we're seeing in this country right now. The end result won't work well for any of us. So if we want it, we truly love our country and our state, we have to get involved, encourage men and women to run. So it's not just on me. I can't alone save this state or this country, but men and women that believe in those values, believe in what I do, if we would step out of our comfort zone and get involved, we could do that. And they will attack. I am confident I will be vilified by some extremists, whatever they want to call me, to keep me out because I'm vocal and I'm not afraid to fight, not afraid to tell what I'm truly about. And what you see is what you get. play with my cards up, going in who I am and what I'm about. They will paint a different picture, and I'm prepared for that. But that's why people don't get in the race or any race, because they don't want to be vilified or demonized, if you will. It takes strong leadership and people not afraid to fight and have the support band of brothers and sisters to help them and stay together. And we can do this. It's our country. We were blessed by God. This country was divinely, providentially inspired. You read the Constitution and you read what the Founding Fathers wrote, how they really had the sense that God was helping them, protecting them, and brought this country about. And now we look around and how the degradation of our society and wonder what's happened and pray to God to protect us and shed His grace on America once again. And frankly, we don't deserve that collectively. We don't deserve God's grace for what we've done. Over the last 40 years, we have murdered millions of unborn. God is a patient God, a good God, very much so, it's obvious, because collectively in this country we don't deserve His grace. What we frankly deserve is wrath, and the fact that we haven't totally incurred that yet, I believe He does surely want us to fight and fight what's right. So we need to step up and speak out and just frankly do God's will, honor Him, go back to our founding and fight the good fight. And some people I've talked to say it's all in God's hand. God will take care of it. It is in God's hand. But I don't believe God is just going to correct it. He's given us free will to either do the right thing or not. And collectively in this country, I believe many, many times we've done the wrong thing. So we need, if you want to change the direction of this country, this state, and provide not only for yourself. I'm not ready to check out quite yet in life, but my children have just gotten started, and I haven't been blessed with grandchildren yet. Hopefully one day I will. It's not fair to them the way we're handing the keys over this country. We've ruined their opportunities if we don't turn this around soon. Freedom is not free. It's cost men and women, millions and millions of men and women throughout this history of this country with their lives. And we owe it to them and we owe it to God to fight for what they have given us. And time is short. I believe we do still have time to turn this around, but we have to step up. And you have my pledge, should you support me in any way, whether you help me knock on doors or a financial contribution, a donation of any type, it'll be a good investment, well spent, and I won't go into the legislature and disappoint you. I will go in there and I'll be a strong leadership, strong voice, and I'm not afraid of a fight. The worst thing anyone can do is you can survive anything but the loss of your life. I don't believe that's what we're facing now. But if you look in the history of the world, and even today, there are tyrannical governments that you can literally lose your life in this fight. It's not above the realm of possibility that America could disappear. Just because it's been here for over 240 years doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. We have to fight and protect this, but time is truly limited. And you look at that, I believe we will face an economic crisis. We have the whole world against us right now, nuclear weapons like we've never seen before. Iran getting nuclear weapons with the blessing of our president. It's time to turn this country around. It's past time, frankly. So step up, support those that, whether it's myself or others that are willing to fight for the right thing, to do the right thing. We are all in it together, and there's multiple roles. If you're behind the scenes type of person, that works too. It takes a lot of people to get good men and women in office. I do have a website. It's gregfettig.com. Spells out really my platform, what I'm about. We're local. I'm over in Westfield, north side of Indianapolis. But I do appreciate your support. And I can tell you one thing, look you right in the eye, I won't betray you. When I go in there, going to do what I said, going to be open to the people. Once I'm in the legislature, I will be out in the district talking to people regularly. And after a few years, I'm done. It's time for somebody else to step up. But I will fight it for several years. You have my pledge, and I appreciate you listening to me today.